We're now going to talk about counties. I split this up into two to make the slides manageable and the videos short enough to be useful. So a county is an administrative subdivision of a state, and it has specific geographic boundaries, and it has some level of government authority designated or delegated to it. The counties largely exist to deliver state services, and so you'll rarely hear about a county doing stuff that's innovative. They don't tend to create new policies. Where they innovate tends to be in how the services are delivered, not what kinds of services are delivered. They usually include they include incorporated areas like cities and townships, and also unincorporated areas. And in the unincorporated areas, the areas that don't have a city government or a township government, the counties tend to provide the services that would otherwise be provided by the cities. So they kind of have a dual role of providing county services and then providing city services to these unincorporated areas. For instance, in Orange County, the Cleveland National Forest, any kind of fire services or police services in the communities around the Cleveland National Forest are delivered by the county because they are not an incorporated area. When we look at counties, there are some real differences between how the states handle this subunit of government. All 50 states have counties, and in 48 of the states, they call them counties. In Louisiana, they call them parishes. In Alaska, they call them boroughs, but the parishes and boroughs functionally work just like counties. In Rhode Island and Connecticut, the county governments themselves have been eliminated, and the state is delivering the services directly, but the counties themselves have not been eliminated. We still call places by their county name and their official designations without any government. Massachusetts has done something a little different. They have 15 counties, and for a long time, the counties all ran county governments, but Massachusetts realized that some of their counties were rural, and in western Massachusetts, they were rural, and they weren't really big enough to support a whole functioning county government. And so, in 6 of the 14 counties, like the ones around Boston and in the bigger areas, the county stayed in place. But in 8 of them, the state government is now providing all of the services directly to those more remote areas. Um, in some counties, I mean, in some states, in addition to counties, there's some independent cities. Um, these are cities that exist outside of the county structure, and the 4 states that have this are Virginia, Maryland, Nevada, and Missouri. For instance, the Falls Church area of Virginia is a independent city. It does not exist within a county. The only thing we have like that in California is the city and county of San Francisco. The city of San Francisco is incorporated both as a city and a county with identical jurisdictions for them both. We don't call San Francisco an independent city, but it functions much like independent cities in these other 4 states. Um, Counties really vary in size. So Los Angeles, for instance, has 10 million people. When you're looking at the largest geographic size, there's kind of a competition here. So in Alaska, 4 of the boroughs are larger than the county of San Bernardino, but they're boroughs, and even though they functionally don't operate as they functionally operate as counties, they're not called counties. So a lot of times, San Bernardino, when you are asked what's the largest county, the answer is San Bernardino. Again, it's one of those things where if you're ever on Jeopardy, you might need to know the difference, but for general purposes, you don't. You do need to notice that the difference between the Yukon in Alaska, over 45,000 square miles versus San Bernardino, which is a little over 20,000 square miles. When you think about San Bernardino, I mean, San Bernardino comes right up to the Los Angeles county line in some places, and then all the way to the Nevada state line. Multiply that by 7, and you've got this area in Alaska. So that's just kind of a thing. The smallest county is Kalawao, Hawaii, and there are only 89 people in the entire county. It also takes the cake for the smallest or for the least amount of territory at just under 12 square miles. Delaware has the fewest counties. They only have 3 counties in the entire state. Texas, on the other hand, divides up into very small counties, and they've got 254 counties. In the South and Midwest, the states tend to divide the counties into very small sections, so you don't have huge counties in the South and Midwest. In the Western states, we have very, very large counties like San Bernardino, and so we have fewer counties in our states covering bigger areas. Now, the Northeast has it doesn't they don't tend to have a lot of counties, but if you also just picture a map of the Northeast in your head, and these states are very, very small, so even if they have small counties, they're not going to have very many. Just when we think about this in comparison to some of the other countries in the world, most countries have this kind of level of government. Great Britain, for instance, has what's called a ceremonial county, and they're about 30% bigger than the typical U.S. county. The French have departments, and the first E should have a tilde over it, and they're about 4 times the size of a typical U.S. county. So you see, in most of the world, what we do at the county level is, that area is a little bit bigger. In the U.S., our western counties are much larger than our eastern ones. For instance, Georgia's a fairly typical eastern state, and each of their counties average they average 343 square miles, where Utah Western County is at the average county size there is 2,427 miles. So you just see a real difference there. And we'll go on to the second part of the county lecture now.